The show where there are no penalties, nothing is offside, and everything is fair game. This is The Gloves Are Off.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to The Gloves Are Off. I'm your host, Adam MacVicker, and of course, we got two fantastic guests today. Thank you, gentlemen, for taking time out of your day to join me. Of course, as always, Andrew Brethauer of the Lloydminster Source, sports reporter there.
Yep.
Our centurion here, the repeat offender, the one who's always here.
Yeah, I've been here for too long.
Yeah, back once again.
I like the reigning defending guest.
Yeah, reigning and defending.
You just gotta put some emphasis on that, like the Bruce Buffer way of doing it. Yeah. Yeah, there you go.
And then, of course, we got our newest guest and our newest member of the New Cap team, Lance Phillips. Welcome to Lloydminster, and welcome to New Cap.
Yeah, glad to be here.
And of course, Lance will be taking over this show coming up next week, of course, and then from there on. So if you've been watching the last 3 weeks, I apologize. So
some big shoes to fill.
Okay, well, easy now. And okay, well, now that you're both here, we're all set. Let's get right into it. And I guess we'll start off with something big coming up this weekend, the 104th Grey Cup, Calgary versus Ottawa. What are your guys' thoughts on this game? Andrew, we'll start with you.
It's the Grey Cup, so whatever.
Andrew doesn't like the CFL. Well, I guess what do you think?
It's actually Ottawa winning is kind of sets it up better than I don't think anyone really wanted a all Western final than maybe people out in the West, because it'd kind of be odd playing
Calgary versus Edmonton. Yeah.
In Toronto. Because in the CFL, and in Canada, there's this rivalry between West and East, and you kind of want to maintain that. So actually having that is kind of maybe great for the marketing side of it. So. But I just can't see Calgary losing this game, not the way they're playing. There was a little bit of hint that maybe they would be slow having 3 weeks off from playing a game, but then the performance they put out, I can't see Ottawa kind of hanging on.
Let me first say that you not liking the CFL is a tragedy. That's an absolute tragedy.
That's not even the beginning of the tragedy you're going to learn about my life.
One thing, just to preface what I'm about to say, is that Ottawa being in the Grey Cup final is probably the best scenario for a Toronto venue. An Edmonton-Calgary final is terrible for ticket sales for Toronto. So having Ottawa there is great. Edmonton beating Hamilton the previous week was a bad scenario for them as well. So I still think it'll be a good game. The one thing that Ottawa is going to have to stop is Jerome Messam. He is a beast for Calgary. He basically runs through guys, and of course, Bo Levi Mitchell. Those are the two threats that they've got, the two main threats. They're going to be tough to slow down. Obviously, Calgary is probably going to run away with this a little bit, but that's their big threat. If they can stop him, they got a chance.
And it's tough stopping Messam. He's huge.
He's massive.
He's got 206 carries so far this season, 1,198 yards, 11 touchdowns just on the ground, and then they're throwing to him too, which is crazy. He's bigger than some of the linemen, which is insane. Now, Ottawa, though, big passing team with Henry Burris. But they have a couple of quarterbacks. It's Harris and Burris. They've both gone under center this year. So I guess what does Calgary need to do to stop Ottawa here?
Just play normal. I don't have to do anything special or anything different they've done all year. Like, you don't need to change your game because this is the Grey Cup. If you've got here, you've clearly been the best team start to finish. There's no one's been better than Calgary. Just play the game you've been playing all year, and they shouldn't have any problems. Ottawa, having been there last year, though, that's the small maybe edge they'll maybe gain from that. But
Calgary has, if not the top-ranked defense, one of the top-ranked defenses. So that means Hank has to be on top of his game. You're right, they have a great backup in Harris, but they need Burris to be the man. Vintage Burris, basically, is what they need. And even at that, against that defense, that's a stout defense that Calgary has. That's going to be tough for them.
Wouldn't it just be great for Burris to win? Then just say, I'm retiring, I'm doing my Peyton Manning, and same year we have Manning and Burris. And
that'd be incredible.
It's one thing to be said where, like a team like Calgary went through the season they had they won that last game. I think it's always nice to see a team continue that win. But seeing as they lost, I think a lot of people are pulling for Ottawa.
Now, I guess, the regular season, they tied one game, 26-26. Calgary won the other game, 48-23. Before we move on to some local football, who do you have to winning this game?
I've got Calgary winning.
Andrew?
I still say Winnipeg, but I'll go Calgary.
All right, well, now moving on to some local football. Things are looking pretty good on the gridiron here in Lloydminster. Of course, the Barons did lose this past weekend, 20-3, but Holy Rosary, they came out 61-0 They won their game. And then, of course, the Bantam Mustangs, they won 18-0 over Lethbridge. They won a Tier 3 provincial title. So, Andrew, let's talk about the state of football in Lloydminster. What do you think of how these teams have been doing?
It's been on the rise. It's still continuing to get better, and that's the nice thing about this local scene here is that we have the provincial champion, we have the Barons are there. They're right there. Like when you say 20-3, it was a 10-3 game going into the fourth quarter, and it was, from what I was told, like windy conditions. Ball was frozen, so it's not to make excuses for them, but it was terrible conditions to play up there. And then obviously Holy Rosary going for their fourth straight Alberta Bowl in that game. They've only won it once in the last 3, so a lot of work for them, and it's gonna be tough work. Like this is the match. Like Holy Rosary, and this is why I always approach Holy Rosary. Wheatland doesn't really matter for them, at least in the last 3 years. Alberta Bowl is what matters. It's the provincial title. And they're playing Cochrane, who is by far the best team in Alberta.
In the South, yeah.
So I think I was at last year's game, and it was over by the first quarter. It was that bad. And I just don't think Holy was ready at the time. They didn't play good enough teams. So now this year added a few extra games in. But I don't know if that gap, how much that closed that gap. I've never seen Cobras play this year, so I have no idea. But just looking at their stats and looking at their wins, it's the same competition. It's the same program. So it's going to be a test for them.
Even head coach Vince Oreo made a point to say that they have not put together a full game this season. They struggled to do that. And if they don't do it, they're going to be in trouble. He made that point. So that's something they obviously have to get put together. As someone new to this area, one thing I will say is I'm impressed by the backing that these teams get from fans, and just different things that I've seen. Their high school has, like for instance, Lloyd Comp has apparel that you can purchase, which did not exist when I played high school football. And I think that factors into how these teams, as you said, Andrew, are going to continue to get better and better when they have this backing of fans behind them.
Well, do you guys see Holy Rosary winning the Alberta Bowl? Just real quick.
Putting me on the spot. If they play right, they have to play a full game. And the hardest part, as you said, the hardest part for them is it's not that they haven't played it, is they don't get the opportunity. Like look at a 61. We're looking at North Final. They win 61-0. Yeah. You know already they're taking their starters out because that's what they do. They don't. So you're about to play for an Alberta Bowl, and your starters just got taken out probably in the second quarter of the game. So now they're sitting. Like it's a brutal system. It's terrible that they're just that much better, and the comp's about to be that much better next year, and they're going to be in the same boat where they're going to be playing weaker opponents. They need better teams to play, and unfortunately around this area, but because football's so good here, you think we got Pee Wee, we got Bantam. By the time they get to high school, these kids have played. Some of them have played 5, 6, 7 seasons of football. They're so far advanced when they get to high school, so that's why we're so good here at high school level.
It reminds me a bit of the CIS, which is now U Sports, of course, where you have some higher echelon teams, and then it's a long way down to get to the others. Like Andrew said, they put together a complete game, they win. I don't think they've had enough adversity going into this game, so I don't see them winning.
Right on, guys. Well, we're going to go to break right now. Thanks for your guys' input on that, and we're going to talk some hockey coming up next. Welcome back, everybody, and we're going to get right into it here with a new rule by the NHL for all-star voting. I don't know if many people have heard about this. It's now called the John Scott Rule. So it's a new rule for fan voting, and what's going to happen is injured or AHL players are disqualified from becoming captains because, of course, John Scott last year, not really an all-star player, becomes the captain of was it the Eastern Conference team?
One of those
the Pacific team, yes. So,
and he wore an NHL jersey because he didn't have a team.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, what do you guys think about this? What do you guys think about this whole, limiting the fan voting thing? Hey, Lance, we'll start with you.
It's the rule is unbelievable, and I talked about this long ago that the NHL is failing fans here. This game is designed for fans. The All-Star format in itself is ridiculous because it's non-contact. Guys are avoiding each other as far as hits are concerned. It's for fans. If you're making it for fans and you're going to allow fans to vote on these guys, you have to go with who they're voting in, regardless of whether you like it or not. And the NHL was so resistant to it with the John Scott situation that they made a mockery of it. And when he finally did play, it was a huge success. A huge success. So I think the rules itself are ridiculous. I understand what they're trying to do, but if it's for fans, let them have their say.
I think fan voting is ridiculous from the beginning. It doesn't matter This has happened before. This is not the first time. This is just the first time it's succeeded. It's happened in baseball. It's happened in I think every major sport where a player who's not considered an all-star is trying to get voted in based on internet. So get rid of it. Like, what does it matter?
This one started off though as a small pool of people getting involved.
That's how they all, and then it's just, oh, now we're
gain
just
traction.
the bandwagon begins, and get rid of it. It doesn't do anything. Like, I don't personally care. I've never voted in an all-star thing. Never will, because I don't care. I don't even care to watch the game, let alone. It doesn't make sense to have it anymore. It's just.
Are they losing the all-star game? Is interest being lost now in this?
The interest is being lost. Hence the reason that John Scott was voted in. People want to see something different happening in these games from the typical, boring, for lack of a better term, all-star format. And this is what happened. And now the NHL is trying to get away from it. And again, I've said it, just let fans do what they want to do and see who they want to see. The game is for them.
Yeah, there's nothing you can do to change the all-star game other than the game itself. The game is the game. It's like football, they may go at like a 75% pace, but it's still football. It's still somewhat hitting. Baseball, they can play full out for the most part, change pitchers every inning or so, but there's nothing you can do in hockey because no one wants to risk an injury. So what do? They've tried these gimmicks. Okay, I think the gimmick last year with the divisions, that kind of worked, and it was kind of interesting. It was different.
And the 3-on-3.
Yeah, and that worked, and it opened up, and you had tons of scoring, and guys just not taking it too seriously, and it was fun, but a lot of that is because of John Scott. Now you take him out, what do you do with it now? Like, it's...
The NHL is clearly trying to get the best players in the game. But that goes against what fans want to see.
Yeah.
Fans want to see something different. And they're being limited to do it. I would not be surprised to see another fourth liner voted in again this year.
I wouldn't mind that. Well, I guess
Yeah,
so.
for sure.
So Lance is for fan voting.
I'm for
Andrew,
it.
you're not fan voting, and I guess we'll move to somebody who we thought was going to be a potential all-star this year, Austin Matthews. He's gone kind of a scoring drought after that 4-goal game at the start of the season. All the hype. He's only got 2 assists and a -5 in the last 11 games. But he says, don't worry about these stats. Look at our team analytics. And, of course, the Leafs have 60 rookie points this year. They're the first in the league, and they're ahead of the Rangers, who are in second, by like 31 points. So I'm guessing, did people overhype Austin Matthews a little bit, do you think? Too much pressure?
He was doomed from the get-go with this 4-goal performance. He set a bar so high that in Leafland, fans are expecting that kind of performance regularly, and he's not going to be able to deliver that. He hasn't scored it's been 13 games since he scored a goal last October 25th. But like you said, look at how this team is performing. They're not going to be a top-tier team this year, but they're getting great play out of a lot of these rookies. One thing that they could throw into the mix is putting Mitch Marner on a line with him. I think that might spark some goal scoring from Matthews.
And it's kind of like you said, you start off with 4 goals. Everyone now looks across the country to that Connor McDavid guy who's done the same thing, who scored a lot of goals, and it's like, oh, we maybe have that guy, and then you don't. And because why? You play on a crappy team.
Right.
It's still the Toronto Maple Leafs. Nothing has changed. This is the first year of a massive rebuilding that they're finally in the midst of doing. Yeah, throw Marner on his line. That's the line you kind of want to get together to get that motivated and going. Analytics doesn't mean anything when you're not making the playoffs. It really doesn't matter. And it doesn't matter when for them, they want to see him develop. It doesn't matter if he gets 20 points or 100 points. It really doesn't matter as long as Austin Matthews next year is a better player, and then the year after, he's the Leafs captain in a couple years, and he's the guy leading this entire team, because that's what you've drafted him for.
So analytics do not matter unless he's lighting the lamp.
I think analytics are important, and they play a role in the game. And it's clear that when analytics came into the game, it's playing a major factor. One thing to keep in mind with Austin Matthews, even though he's not scoring goals, he's still getting a ton of shots on net. So by getting those shots on net, he's going to get there at some point. He's one of the best rookies that are playing the game right now, and he's only going to continue to get better.
And he plays on a bad team.
Well, and part of the thing, the measuring stick too, is Patrick Laine in Winnipeg. Winnipeg's not a fantastic team either, but Laine is scoring, and I think a lot of people are starting to give Matthews the heat because he is not producing at that rate as well.
So I mean, he's not a Connor McDavid. He's not going to be a Connor McDavid, but can we put him kind of in the same altitude? Because of course he is a very talented rookie. Like what else does this team need?
How many games are we in? Like, I don't know where we're at. Like 20-some games, and we're talking about this. Like,
yeah, I guess that's true.
He plays, like I said, terrible team in a city that is so under the microscope. it doesn't matter what he does. It matters what happens with the Leafs organization. Austin Matthews is not going to change the Leafs. Connor McDavid did not change Edmonton. He can score all the goals, but when he doesn't score, Edmonton loses. He does not, by his own, change the entire team. There's so much else the Leafs have to change. So as long as he's developing and the Leafs are improving everything else from goaltending, defense, and forwards, it doesn't matter what he does.
Which they are. They have improved, and they're going to continue to improve. And like you said, the rebuilding is happening. People were complaining that we're not seeing this. Now you're seeing it. These guys are out there. They've got a young team of a lot of high-quality players, and the team is going to improve.
All right, excellent, guys. Well, thank you guys for your input on that one, and we're going to be right back for a little bit of over-under. All right, everyone, welcome back to Lloydminster's favorite part of Gloves Are Off, and that is the over-under. And I guess we're going to start, actually. I'll give you the first question because, you know, you're the new guy, you're the rook, so we'll give you this first one.
All right.
First question. How many times have Ottawa and Calgary faced off in the Grey Cup?
Ottawa and Calgary. Including the Rough Riders?
Oh, yeah.
Including the Rough Riders. Okay, I'm going to say that they have faced off in the Grey Cup a grand total of 6 times.
Over, under?
Under.
Under is correct. It is 2.
Oh.
It is 2. You were close.
No Renegades, though.
1 point.
Forgot about the Renegades. Good call.
1 point to Andrew here. Now, I guess, Andrew, question for you now. How many times has the Grey Cup been broken by a team?
Every year? Let me tell you. Sarnia's actually, where I'm from, Sarnia's actually won the Grey Cup, so it's probably at least twice. So I'm going to go with 14.
Over, under?
I know for sure it's been broken once. I've seen it. I'm going to go under.
Under is correct. It is 4 known times it was like destroyed. So 4 known times. Tie game right now.
Sarnia was 2 of them. Okay.
I know you, sir. You have some history with the Toronto Argonauts. So they've won the most Grey Cups, the Argonauts. How many Grey Cups?
16.
Over, under?
Over.
That's not correct. You actually got the correct answer there. 16 on the money. 16.
That's
wow,
cheating.
Goodness gracious.
Can I tell you, I'm a CFL
You know
fan.
you're Argonauts. All right.
That's cheating.
2 to 1 right now. So for you, Andrew, we talked about John Scott earlier. How many goals does John Scott have in his NHL career?
Not a lot. 7.
Over, under?
Under.
Under is correct. It is 5.
Oh, I thought it was 4.
Yikes. Yikes. Played like a lot of years, too.
Should have counted the All-Star games. That's like 20.
285 career games, I think.
Yeah, something like that. 5 goals. 5 goals. He has a couple of assists, too, but, man, that's a little rough. All-Star. NHL All-Star.
Hey.
Unbelievable. And now for you, Lance, how many shots on goal do the Maple Leafs have this season?
259.
Over, under?
Let's go over.
Over?
Yeah.
It is over. 461 is how many they have. I know this because I was doing my Leafs research here, and a lot of fun stats coming out of those Leafs players. But I guess that does mean Lance wins, right? Yes.
Really?
I lost. I always lose count. I always get way too into it, and I always lose count of who. But I guess Lance wins. But you know, we do have some fair or foul coming up after this, and then after we have the sound off. So we'll let you kind of just. Have an open camera. You can talk, and
You got it.
if Andrew wants to jump in, I guess Andrew will probably jump in every once in a while because, you know.
I'd like it if you
Never shut me up.
But we will have some fair or foul coming up next. We're going to talk a little bit of Cowboys. We're going to talk a little bit of Vince Carter too, someone we haven't really chatted about.
He's still
And,
alive? Or-
He's still playing.
He's still around. So
All
we're
right.
going to talk about that coming up in just a few minutes. Welcome back, everybody, and of course I'm sitting here with Andrew Brethauer and our newest man on the team, Lance Phillips, and of course we're going to get ready to fair or foul right now. And I'll give this first one to you, Andrew. We'll start with you. I know you love talking about this team.
God, not again.
My fair or foul statement here, this is of course fair, you agree, foul, you disagree. The Dallas Cowboys, 2016 Super Bowl champions, fair or foul?
No, foul. Why? Because Tom Brady hates Roger Goodell, and he's going to win this whole thing just to spite everybody, just so he could sit there and hold that up, and like Goodell has to hand the trophy to him. Bob Kraft won't even touch it. Brady will be right there and be like, "Come on, give it to me." That's what will happen. Nope.
Well, that's fair or foul.
It's definitely foul.
Definitely foul?
Yeah,
Okay.
and I kind of take Andrew's side here.
Yeah.
The Patriots are the team to beat still, and it's because Tom Brady is the quarterback. I can't see that, even though Dak Prescott's been fantastic, Dallas Cowboys are not going to be there this year. I still think New England's the team to beat.
They still get far, though, right? Do you think?
Oh,
yeah, they
I
could.
think that is the Super Bowl. There's New England,
okay.
Dallas.
Wow.
I'll say that.
Wow.
Unless,
That's foul.
and I can't believe we're talking about this, the Oakland Raiders and New England, that's going to be the final.
That'd be fun.
That'd be the
That would be
conference.
fun.
That would be a fun game.
I
to
can't
watch.
believe I ever said that again in my life. I thought the last time watching Oakland, Tampa Bay, would be the last time I'd ever see Oakland doing anything successful, but
2002.
they are a
my
lot of fun to
goodness.
watch. They are a lot of fun to watch. So
They are a fun team to watch. So it's always crazy, this NFL. It's always crazy. I'm looking how unexpected it is this year. So, and I guess we'll go to our next fair or foul statement. This one's kind of a little bit of a one-off. We were going to talk about the Raptors earlier. Didn't have enough time for it. But we're going to talk about one Raptor, one famous Raptor, by the name of Vince Carter. My fair or foul statement is Vince Carter, Hall of Famer. Lance, fair or foul?
That's fair. Vince Carter, although he hasn't reached some of the levels a lot of other players has, he's 25th on the NBA all-time scoring list. Of 38 players that are on that list, 29 of them are in the Hall of Fame already, and the other ones besides Carter are easily Hall of Famers. Guys like Dirk Nowitzki, Kobe Bryant is in that list as well. I definitely see Vince Carter as a Hall of Famer. He has the 6th most points since joining the league in 88-89, I believe it is. 98-99, sorry. He's definitely a guy that will be there at some point.
Andrew, fair or foul?
he will. I just think he'll end up being like the Lindros kind of the NBA.
Fair
world.
enough,
So
yeah.
not first ballot.
It won't
like,
be.
Yeah, it won't be a
'cause
first
it's-
ballot
I
for
think
sure.
a lot in Canada we take Vince Carter because it's Vince Carter. It's the slam dunk competition. It's the guy who led the Raptors. But if you put Vince Carter on someone else's team, we're not talking Vince Carter very often. We're not talking about period. He's not that Kobe, Dirk, Vince. They're not having that conversation with those three guys. We never would have. I don't think you ever would put Vince Carter in that conversation with those three. I really don't think you would. I think, and I just kind of like when I go back to people who say about, when Taylor Hall was leading the Oilers, someone has to lead the team in points, and that was him for a long time with the Raptors. So he'll get in, just not right away.
Yeah,
Alright.
I would agree with that.
all right. Well, I guess just like Vince Carter, this segment is over. And we're going to come back for a little
Well
bit of sound
played.
off. We got Lance
So
winning
good this is your
fair
last
we got
week.
Lance winning the over-under, so he's got sound off coming up after the break. Welcome back, everybody, and we're going to finish off the show here with our sound off segment here. So you've got a few seconds here, Lance. You won over-under? What you gotta say?
Yeah, I guess I just want to say that I'm super glad to be in Lloydminster. It's a new city for me as someone who grew up in a small town. Telling local stories is super important. So if you've got a good story that you think I should be telling, I'm happy to do that. And I'm hoping that one day I'll be like my man Andrew here and have a billboard of my own out there without my name on it.
Well, Andrew,
All
response?
right. I'm done for the week. I won't be coming back, and it's been nice being on the show.
Oh my God! Well, Lance, you take the reins next week. You and Andrew
Looking
here.
forward to it.
So if you need a guest, I know a guy. Maybe I'll come back.
I'm thinking about that.
We'll see what happens. But yeah, I mean, welcome to Lloyd. We're
Thanks a
happy to
lot.
have you. And this show, we're wrapping it up now. But thank you guys for joining me, and we'll see you guys later. Thanks for watching.